What is up, guys? So it is Johnny here today, and what we're going to be talking about today is email marketing. And so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time or any time talking about myself and my background and how I got to where I am. I'm going to assume that if you're watching this, then you probably are on my email list, and so you probably know a thing or two about me, about my past, and so I'm not going to spend any time going over that. With that being said, we do have a lot of stuff to cover today, and so we're going to be moving pretty quickly. I'm going to try to keep this under an hour, but I really don't think that's going to happen, but we are going to try. So yeah, we're going to be moving pretty quickly, so I would encourage you to cut out any distractions, put your cell phone on silence, turn off Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. Don't have Netflix going in the background, because we are going to be covering a lot of content that could potentially make you a whole lot of money down the road. So let's get going. So what we're going to cover in this webinar is the first thing we're going to cover is what is a customer avatar. And so we're going to be talking about how to really email to one specific person, which is going to make your marketing a whole lot more effective. We're going to talk about how to do niche research to actually create your avatar and put that together. We're going to go over how to come up with endless ideas for emails, so that way you're always going to know what to talk about, right? You're never going to come up without you're not gonna have a writer's block, is what I'm trying to say, right? How to develop your attractive character. So how to really turn yourself into or position yourself as somebody with credibility and somebody that your audience should trust and follow. We're also going to talk about what is SOS, so the SOS sequence and why I use it. Excuse me. We're going to be talking about the Jerry Seinfeld emails. And we're going to talk about how to do promotions that kill it with a small list. So that way you can make a whole lot of sales with a small list. And so if there's one thing that you're going to focus on in your marketing, in your business, it's to learn how to write effective emails, right? It's the most 100% the most profitable thing you can do in your business, right? I'm sure you've probably heard people say that the money is in the list, right? The fortune's in the follow-up. That's a big saying in the network marketing profession, and so you've probably heard that said. And the fact of the matter is that it's true. A lot of people they're going around saying that email's dead. Open rates are way down. That is a fact, right? But the fact of the matter is that email marketing is very profitable, and it still remains the most profitable thing you can do, right? There are other things that you can do to supplement email marketing that do kind of have a similar effect. Like you can have a Facebook group, right? That really allows you to create a group of very engaged people. So that's another thing you can do. But things when you build a list like that on a social media platform like Facebook, you don't really own that list, right? If Facebook suddenly decides that they don't like what you're talking about in your account or whatever, they can choose to shut your account down, right? So you don't truly own that list. But when you build an actual email list, that is an asset, right? A long-term asset in your business, and you own that list, right? If you wanted to, you could sell it. You could sell that list for an actual tangible amount of money. Now, I would never recommend that you do that, right? Because marketing to your list is going to always be the most productive thing you can do, the most profitable thing you can do. Email marketing, really, it's going to allow you to build a tribe of people that absolutely love you, and they're going to follow you wherever you go, right? And so should you, if let's say, for example, you're in network marketing. I'm not in network marketing, but let's say that you were, and your company goes bankrupt, right? That does happen. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And so if your company goes bankrupt, then your main income stream is gone, just like that, overnight, right? But when you have an email list that loves you and trusts you and follows you wherever you go, you can rebuild that income stream very, very quickly. And so at the end of the day, if you're a network marketer, your network marketing company is not your business, right? You are your business. You are the brand. And so an email list is a major asset to you, to your brand, to your business. And so that should be your main income stream, right, is email marketing. Your network marketing product or your affiliate product is just one product that you sell under your business, right? It's like a grocery store. A grocery store doesn't really name their business after, say, Campbell's Soup, right? Campbell's Soup is not the brand. It's not what that store is about. That store sells all kinds of different products, right? And so your network marketing company is just one product that you sell in your business. And so an email list is what's going to allow you to do that. An email list is basically like your store, kind of, right? It's not the best analogy, but I'm sure that you get what I'm trying to say. So why my way of email marketing? So when you email market the way that I do, the way that I'm going to share with you to do, is it's going to allow you to create repeat buyers and build a long-term business. And so these people on your email list, if you do things the way that I'm going to teach you, those people are going to buy from you over and over again, right? And that is what's going to allow you to build a long-term business. Long-term businesses are not built on one-time customers. They're built on customers who come back over and over and over again, just like a grocery store, right? There's only so many people in one city. And so if every single person in that city comes to that grocery store one time to buy one product, then that grocery store is going to go under, right? It's going to go bankrupt. It's not going to survive. And so they have repeat customers that come back over and over again because of the service and the quality of their products. And so that's what this way of email marketing is going to allow you to do. And so the way that you're going to do this is you're going to deliver value consistently over and over again, day in and day out. And that's what's going to really brand you as a trusted source, right? A trusted advisor, somebody that people want to buy from. People buy from people and sources that they trust. And so when you can become that source in your prospect's eyes, then that is going to allow you to really build a long-term stable business. So the other thing that you want to do is you want to always have your customer's best interests at heart. So you don't want to just find some random product and just kind of, send out emails to these random products that you can find just to earn a commission. You really want to have your customer's very best interests at heart. And so anything that you promote, I would recommend that you actually own that product, right? Don't sell things that you don't own, because if you don't own it, then you don't know whether or not it's actually a good quality product that's going to deliver results and really deliver value to your customers' lives. And so you have to have your customer's best interests at heart. And when you sell a product, you have stamped your seal of approval on that product. And if you sell some garbage, crappy product to your customers, they are not going to forget that, right? And so the next time that you go to promote something, they will not trust you. You will have broken that trust and they will not going to buy from you again. But when you have your customers' very best interests at heart, then people are going to really naturally start to gravitate towards you. Right? And people that buy from you they're going to start to really recommend you to other people, right? When your customers, they go to live events and they're mingling with other people in the industry, and the people ask them, how did they get results? Who did they learn from? Those people are going to mention you, right? They're going to refer people to you. The other thing is people are going to be waiting for your next message. They're actually going to be waiting for your next email, right? And that is something that is very, very powerful in this day and age, because people's inboxes are just bombarded. They're filled with just sales messages every single day. But when you email this way, the way that I'm going to share with you, then people are actually going to message you and they're going to be begging you for the next email. And that is very, very powerful. And the other thing is that selling really becomes effortless, right? So customers are going to trust you, and they're going to know, because they're going to trust you because they know that you won't abuse their trust, right? They're going to know that you have their best interests at heart. And so that's why, when you go to recommend a product, you're not really going to have to hard sell ever, right? Because you're going to be able to sell without effort. You're just recommending products that have worked for you, products that you really believe in. And when people trust you, they're going to follow your recommendations. So let's talk about your customer avatar. So who is your avatar? You really want to figure out who your avatar is. And so what an avatar is it's a person that you develop in your mind, right? So you want to, when you're sending out emails and marketing messages, you really want to be talking to one specific person. And so this doesn't mean that you go out and you find some person and tell them, hey, I want to put you on my email list and I want to speak directly to you all the time, right? That's stupid, right? And we're not going to do that. But what you want to do is you want to really develop the ideal prospect in your mind, or write it down on paper, really map it out, and then you want to speak to that specific person. And so what you want to do is you want to ask yourself, your ideal customer, what do they want to achieve? What does your ideal customer want to achieve? What's the outcome that they're looking for? And what actual steps must they take to reach their goal, right? What are the actions that they have to take to reach their desired outcome? What fears, excuses, or objections must you overcome? This is very, very important, because before you actually start to make sales, you have to understand that before anyone buys something, there are fears and there are objections in their minds that you have to overcome. Think about any time that you've bought a product online, there have always been objections in your mind. And when you went to that sales page and that sales page convinced you to buy, or maybe you bought from a specific person and that person convinced you to buy, that person overcame objections that you had in your mind, right? You had fears in your mind about this product. Is this really going to work? Is this a scam or whatever it is? But the person that you bought from has convinced you that this is legitimate, right? And so they overcame the excuses and objections that you had in your mind. And so this is something that's very, very important if you want to get good results here. So where can I insert myself into the equation? How can I deliver value? So that's what you want to ask yourself is, for your specific customers, how can you insert yourself into that equation, and how can you help that person to achieve the desired outcome? So we're going to have to do a little bit of research to figure this stuff out, right? At the end of the day, the business that knows their customer best is going to win every single time, right? So most people, they really try to speak to absolutely everybody, right? They market far too broad. They try to talk to everyone, every type of person out there, and then they end up attracting nobody. This is something that I really see a lot inside of network marketing, right? Because we know that really everybody in the world would love to make extra money, right? That's something that everybody would love, but not everybody wants to start a business, right? And so a lot of network marketers, they just assume that absolutely everybody on the planet is their perfect customer. And while everybody in the world can do network marketing or affiliate marketing, to have the potential to make that model work, not everyone wants to. And so your marketing message is going to fall down dead when you try to talk to everybody. So you need to talk to, you really need to know your customer, so that way you're going to be able to speak directly to that customer, and that is what's going to deliver the best results. The other thing that you have to remember is it is not about you, right? It's never about you. It's about your customer. You can't send out your emails and just talk about yourself and about how much money you want to make and what your goals are and that stuff. Your customers don't care, right? Your customers care about how can you help them. And so you always have to remember that it is about your customer, right? The word "you" is the most popular word that you should be using in your content, right? Don't use the word "I" a lot. Don't talk about yourself. You need to talk about your customer, right? You need to paint a picture, paint a vision of how working with you can help your customer. And you really want to speak directly to a specific person. And this is why developing your customer avatar is so very, very important. So Bob is my customer avatar. And so I pretty much, for the most part, I kind of stole this avatar from my mentor, right? Because as I was building my business and as my list was starting to grow, I realized that I was really attracting kind of the same people that my mentor is. And so I essentially stole his avatar. And so this is who Bob is. So Bob is 45. Bob has 2 kids. He has a wife and he works full time. He does all right financially, but he's very worried about his future, right? Retirement is creeping up closer and closer, and he's not sure what he's going to do about it. He's not sure how he's going to provide for his kids and really fund his retirement for himself and his wife. So he's dabbled in internet marketing. He's bought products for over a year and has achieved very little results with any of those products. And so he's on a lot of gurus' email lists, and he gets promotions in his inbox every single day. He's purchased products on all kinds of different stuff, on SEO, affiliate marketing, Shopify, Bitcoin, Amazon, and product creation. And so he's really following all the latest trends and fads, right? He's just he's following for all the slick marketing that all these marketers are firing into his email inbox. So he buys new products every single week, and he has to hide his credit card bill from his wife. he really has no real business plan, and he has no direction to follow. And he's starting to feel very overwhelmed with all the options out there, and he's not sure where to start. He's starting to wonder if it's time to give up on his dream of making it online. He's thinking that it might be time to just call it quits and surrender to the fact that this might not be real, right? And so this is who I talk to, right? These are the kind of the common traits about the people that really are attracted to my marketing. And so this is the specific person that I talk to in all my emails, all my marketing. So finding your customer avatar. So we're going to figure out who your perfect customer is. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to identify your audience. So you really want to speak to one group of people and ignore everybody else, right? And so at the end of the day, you are going to attract people that are not like Bob, right? If let's say, for example, your customer avatar is Bob, you are going to attract different people, right? They're not all going to be 45. They're not all going to be males, right? But it's going to be the most effective for you if you speak to that one person and just ignore everybody else. There are still going to be other people that are going to resonate with your message, right? But your core message should speak directly to one specific person. The people that you attract are really going to resonate with you, and they're going to connect with you on a much deeper level, right? Than if you're trying to talk to everybody. So this is what this is going to do is it's going to make your message very consistent. And so you're going to be really standing for one kind of thing all the time, right? And people are going to know what you stand for and what the kind of person is that you're speaking to. And so this is really known as attraction marketing, right? When you're attracting certain people to you like a magnet, and it's really going to polarize the market too, right? It's going to attract the kind of people that you actually love working with. Step 2 is you need to identify their problems, pains, and frustrations. So what is their pain, right? What is it that keeps them up at night? When they're having trouble falling asleep, what is it that they're thinking about? Are they thinking about, oh, I need to really get out of debt? Or are they thinking about, how can I get rid of this beer belly, right? Whatever kind of niche you're in. Maybe you're in weight loss. Maybe you're in bodybuilding. How can I grow my biceps, right? So what is it that keeps them up at night? How can I drive more traffic, maybe is what how can I get more people to my squeeze page? And so what I have found is that starting with you is a very powerful way to identify their problems, pains, and frustrations, right? Because if you're anything like me, then the common problems that your customers are facing are problems that you faced when you were getting started in the niche that you are operating inside of. So you really need to identify those issues. Step 3 is you have to understand their desires, right? And so we need to know their needs, wants, and desires. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to really speak directly to what motivates and drives them. And here's a hint. It's not money. Right? If you're in network marketing or an affiliate marketing, make money online or whatever it is, it's not money. Money is not a very powerful of a motivator. It's not as powerful as you think. I used to think that when I first got started, all I wanted to do was just make money. That's what I thought was my main motivator. But as soon as I started to make some money, I realized that that just was not the case, right? Money does not motivate you. If you come home and you're super tired from a long day, a long stressful day at work, and all you want to do is lay down on the couch and watch Netflix, money alone, just the thought of making $1 million is not going to be enough to really push you forward. And so it's not money that they want. It's the feeling that they think money is going to provide, right? And so I got this from Tony Robbins. So nobody cares about having just a fat stack of papers in their wallet with numbers on them and pictures of presidents, right? It doesn't matter. It has no intrinsic value. It's the feeling that they think money is going to provide. That is what they're after. And that's what you really have to understand on a deep level if you really want to speak to your customers' desires and to really paint a vision of, the dream that they could actually achieve if they follow what you teach them. Step 4, understand their dreams and visions. And so this kind of ties into their desires, right? But what outcome are they trying to achieve? Are they trying to get financial freedom? Are they trying to get in good shape? If you're in weight loss, are they trying to get in good shape so they can attract a mate, a husband, a wife, whatever it is? Maybe quitting their job, right? Maybe that's their dream. Maybe that's their vision, creating stability, providing for their family, right? And so you have to really figure out what your perfect customer avatar would be dreaming about. What is it that they're working towards? Step 5, know their fears. This is very, very important because you have to understand how to overcome objections. What are their biggest fears to achieve this outcome, right? And so we all like stability, right? We don't like, we all have a fear of the unknown, I think. And so I know I do, and I think that most other people do too. And so that's what you have to understand is, and you really have to know what are their fears. So that way you can overcome their fears and let them know that, hey, this thing that you're scared of over here is not actually, it's not actually that scary. It is something that you can overcome if you follow me and you just do what I tell you to do and you just take my advice. What is stopping them or holding them back from achieving their desired outcome? You really need to know and understand this so that way you can help them to crash through that barrier and start actually moving forward, right? And so if you know this, then you can address and stamp out that fear or show them how to overcome it. So this is knowing their fears and their objections and their excuses is very, very powerful. And step 6, your solutions. How can you help your customer or prospect right now? What can you do for them? And so you have to be willing to really help them figure things out without expecting anything in return, right? And so let's say you get a message on Facebook from a potential customer, from a prospect that's never spent a dime with you. You don't know if they ever will. But they're starting to look up to you, right? They're starting to see you as an expert and they ask you a question. But say you don't know the answer. Well, instead of just ignoring it or telling them you don't know, find somebody else, you don't want to tell them stuff like that. What you want to do is you tell them, you know what, honestly, I don't know for sure, but I will find out and I will get back to you and I will let you know. And then you have to actually do it, actually follow through, right? You have to be willing to really just go the extra mile because most people are not willing to do that. And so when you do that, that's really going to help you to stand out from the crowd, and it's going to really help your prospect see that, okay, this person's different. This person is really out to help me to get results. And so when the time does come that you actually do sell something, your customers are going to be flocking to your offer, right? They know the way that they're going to justify it in their head is that if this person went through all this trouble for me to help me out and I didn't even buy anything from them, I didn't even spend any money with them, imagine what they're going to do for me if I actually buy something from them. That's kind of the thought process that's going to be going through their mind. And so this is very powerful. You really want, when the time comes that you do sell, you want people to just be flocking to your offer so that way selling is going to be effortless. So why is it important to know this? So most of your customers are going to be starting at point A, right? This is where they are now, point A, and point B is the desired outcome. It's where they want to be. And so what your whole goal is to get them from point A to point B. And if you're able to do that, then you are going to be the hero in their eyes. You're going to be the one that got them to where they want to be, from their hell to their heaven. And so when you can be that person that changed their life, then they're going to love you forever, right? You are going to be their absolute hero. Now, the thing that I want you to understand is that you don't necessarily have to get them all the way to point B, right? All you have to do is just to get them one step closer, 1 or 2 steps closer to point B, right? Does that make sense? You have to just help them to make some forward progress. You have to be that person. And so when you're able to do that, then they are going to absolutely love you. And so if you're able to help them just to get a little bit further in their journey, get a little bit closer to where they want to be, it's going to make them a lot more receptive to buy what you're selling, right? So when the time comes that you are selling a product in your email, then they are going to absolutely just completely trust what you recommend to them, and they are going to take action because you've already helped them to get closer to their desired outcome without even expecting anything in return. And so now they're excited, right? You've really built a level of anticipation and excitement inside of them, and they want to move faster, and they know that you are the person who can help them to do that. And so they are going to absolutely buy what you recommend. And this, even if it's an affiliate product that you're recommending, right? And so this is another reason why you really want to promote products that are actually quality, products that are actually going to help your customers get from point A to point B. So Now, it's time to do a little bit of research. Now that we're well on our way to trying to figure out who our avatar is, and so we have to do a little bit of research to find some of the common questions and objections that they have. So what I would recommend to do, the first thing that I would do is, so as an example, we're going to use weight loss. We're in the weight loss niche. And so I would go on Facebook and I would search for fan pages related to weight loss. And so let's find some very popular weight loss fan pages. Weight loss motivation, 60,000 people like it. 199,000 people like weight loss ideas. Weight loss and diet plans, 74,000 people. So this one got 5 stars. So let's go ahead and try out this one. And so what you would want to do is you would want to go and just find a post in here that, let's see, let's just have kind of a look around here. So considering the amount of likes that this particular page has, it doesn't really have a whole lot of engagement. So what you want to try and do is you want to find a page with a lot of engagement, right? And so that might take a little bit of trying a couple of different pages. And then when you find one that has a whole lot of engagement, then find a post that the owner of this fan page made, and whether it's a blog post that they shared or whatever it is. And that blog post is going to give you ideas as to what your target market is wanting to read about or wanting to learn about, right? And so you can take the topic of that blog post or the video or whatever it is, and then you can borrow ideas from there and create emails and content about that topic. And the other thing that you would want to do is you want to go through the comments. And what you're going to find in the comments is you're going to find things that people are going to, they're just going to come out and tell you what they liked about that particular blog post, right? And so that's really going to tell you what your audience is looking for, what it is that they like to read about. The other thing that you're going to find in there is you're going to find questions that people are asking. And so that is another thing that you can use. When you know common questions that people are asking, then you can just answer those questions in your emails before your audience even asks the questions. And that's really going to put you in a very powerful position of trust, and you're going to be viewed as a trusted advisor, really. The other thing that you can do is you can search for weight loss groups, right? So the process would be the exact same as for the fan pages, right? Now, the one thing that I will tell you is that if you are in the make money online space or the network marketing space, then it's going to take a little bit of searching to actually find a group that has some engagement. In the affiliate marketing, network marketing space, a lot of these groups are really just spammed out. And so you might find groups with 600,000 members, but they're not really very engaged, right? All that people are doing is they're just typing in one sentence and an affiliate link to their product, and so nobody's really engaged in that group. So that's not going to help you out a whole lot. So what you really want to do is you really want to find groups with a lot of engagement, groups where every post is just getting piles and piles of comments, and that's really going to give you a lot of ideas for content. The next thing is Google. You want to search for your niche plus forum, and so weight loss forum. So here you're going to find all kinds of forums about your niche, right? And so forums are a great place. There's a lot. They are really engaged communities, right? People who are very passionate about the topic. And so you can go through these forums and you can find common questions. Just go, and then when you find a thread that asks a very common question, then you can click on that thread and just kind of scroll through it, and you can just make a massive list of common questions and advice that people are offering for those questions, and that's going to give you piles and piles of content ideas for your emails, and it's going to, again, allow you to answer questions to your audience before they even ask them. And the most common questions that are being asked in these forums are questions that your actual prospect is asking as well, right? Chances are. The other thing that you can do is search for blogs inside of your niche. And so blogs are really going to be very, very powerful as well, because bloggers notoriously know what their audience wants, right? And so if you find a blog post that that ranks in Google, then you pretty much know that this is a very hot topic. This is something that the audience inside of this niche is very passionate about. And so then the other thing that you can do is, just go through the blog and take notes on it, and then go through the comments down in the bottom too. You're going to find all kinds of questions and ideas in there as well. That's going to really help you for content ideas for your emails, and also it's going to help you with developing your customer avatar. Now, the other thing, there's a couple of powerful other keywords that you can use. So a common one is how to, right there, how to lose weight fast. That would be a good keyword to search. And so this is really called Google Instant, this right here, right? Another one would be, how to stop. That would be another one. There would be nothing about weight loss here. How to stop feeling hungry, right? That might be one. How to stop feeling bloated could be possibly one. Or how to lose weight fast, how to lose weight in a week, how to lose belly fat. How to improve would be another one. How to learn. So this is Google Instant here is going to give you all kinds of ideas. And then when you scroll down to the bottom of the search results, these are related searches. And so every single keyword variation that you type into the search bar is going to give you a different list of related searches down here. And so these are all going to give you different results, and you're just going to get piles and piles of content and ideas for your customer avatar. So I hope that makes a whole lot of sense. The other thing that you want to do is you want to do this exact same process that we did in Google, do that in YouTube, because YouTube works very, very similarly. They have related videos, right, and for each keyword, and they have YouTube Instant or Google Instant as well in the search bar. So you're also going to have, when you start typing something, you're going to have this list that drops down and have you'll see some of the most common searches that people are making inside of your niche. So the other thing that you want to do is, if you have an audience already, then just simply ask them what they want, right? And so what you can do is you can create a survey, and you can send them that survey and have them complete it, and that's going to also tell you exactly what your audience wants, and then you can just deliver them what you know that they want. So you can use surveymonkey.com to create a survey. You can use wufoo.com would be another resource. And you can also create a free survey in Google Docs, apparently. I've never actually done it, but I'm told that you can create a free survey there. So that would be another way that you could do that. The other thing that you want to do is you want to ask them to actually reply to your emails, right? And then when they do, you actually want to reply to them and help them, right? Most people don't do this. Most of the the big gurus, so to speak, they never will even ask you to reach out to them, because they don't want you to reach out to them. They have email lists that are big enough that they can just send out offers, and they have the power of numbers, the power of averages is working in their favor because their list is so big, and so they don't want you to reach out to them, right? They just want to keep sending out emails and making easy money. But when you have a small list and you want to really maximize the profits for that small list, then you really want to have, like I said before, you want to have your customer's best interests at heart. And so when you ask them to reply to your email and they ask you a question, you want to actually reply to them, and you want to actually help them. And if you want to go the extra mile, which I recommend that you should do, then you could create a video reply, right, directly to them. And then you can upload that video to Dropbox, and you can actually name it after them. So if you think about how powerful that is, if you ask somebody, you're in a niche, you're brand new, you just come into this niche and you're trying to learn about it, and you get on somebody's email list and you actually reach out to them, you ask them a question. You really view this person as an authority in that niche, and you ask them a question, and that person creates a personal video for you, and they send you a link to it, and that video is actually named after you. That is very, very powerful. You know that that person went the extra mile, and that's really going to build a whole lot of trust, and it's really going to make you feel special, right? And that's what you want to do for your customers. The other thing Ideas for writing emails. Go through old courses that you've bought in the past, right? If you are in any niche that you're very passionate about, then you probably have, excuse me, then you probably have a whole pile of old courses that you've bought in the past. And so you should be going through those old courses. If you're anything like me, then you've bought courses in the past and you just kind of shoved them aside. You never actually had the time to go through them. And so now they're just kind of sitting there idly, right? And so what you want to do is you want to actually go through those old courses, and that's going to give you piles more content ideas. It's going to really increase your expertise, and it's going to really equip you to really help your list, right? Help your audience. The other thing is books. You can go through books. And then as you go through your old courses and your books and also previous webinars or live events you attended, take notes, right? I learned this from Ray Higdon, and he says that your notes are like uncashed paychecks, right? And so if you ever have writer's block, if you're writing a blog post or an email or whatever it is, then you can just go through your old notes from previous webinars or live events or books or old courses, whatever it is. Go through those notes and you're going to have endless content ideas. And so those notes are like uncashed paychecks. If you, if somebody sent you a check in the mail, you're not just going to, put it in your filing cabinet and just leave it sitting there, right? You're not going to do that. You're going to go to the bank and you're going to cash that check. Well, you should be looking at your notes the exact same way. And so when you actually go to a live event or when you actually attend a webinar, then you should actually take notes, right? This is something that I didn't do for a very long time. And the thing that I realized when I did start to take notes is I found that I retained the information a lot better, right? Something about your pen physically hitting the paper and you actually writing down what you're hearing really reinforces it in your mind, and it's really going to help you to really remember that stuff a lot better. The other thing too is you can tell your day-to-day stories, right? People are going to resonate with stories, and the thing that you should also understand is that people don't really remember facts all that well, right? And they don't necessarily remember people all that well, but they do remember stories. They do love a good story. And so when you can really learn to become good at telling stories, that's going to be very, very powerful, and it's going to be very engaging. Your audience is going to start to become very engaged, and they're going to love reading your emails. The other thing too is you can share lessons you learn throughout your life. So the thing that I want you to understand is that you really have content ideas all around you. You are surrounded with content ideas, whether you realize it or not. And so when I really started to understand this concept, then I realized that no matter what I do, there are always content ideas coming to me. And so whether I'm Sunday morning, I'm at church, or maybe I'm watching a movie or a radio, or listening to the radio on the way to work or on the way to a friend's house, or maybe I'm listening to a podcast, there are always ideas just flooding all around me, right? And so what you want to do is you want to take mental notes, and when you get home and you get to your notepad, then actually write down those ideas that came to you on the fly while you were out there just doing life, right? So your attractive character. Let's create your attractive character. So a couple of elements to your attractive character. A couple of things that you need to really dial in. So the first thing is your backstory, right? People are really going to trust you if they feel like they know you. And if you can really, I would recommend that you take some time and actually go back, think about your backstory, think about what brought you to where you are today, and actually write it down, figure out your backstory, and then share that with people, because people are really going to feel like they know you, right? When you really share your backstory, and they're going to be able to see how you got to where you are today. Just going to grab a drink of water here. The other thing too is the stories that you tell, right? So like I mentioned before, people remember and they resonate with stories. Stories are very, very powerful. And so the stories that you tell are really going to serve to develop your attractive character as well. You really want your customers to see you as an attractive person, to see you as somebody that is worth listening to. And so the stories that you tell are going to play a big part in that. So whether it's a story about something that happened to you in your life, or maybe it happened to somebody that you know, you can write that story out and send that to your list, and people are going to remember those stories. And always try to, work in a point to your story, right? Work in some kind of a lesson, or work in maybe your product or whatever it is. Excuse me, my voice is getting kind of dry with all this talking. But yeah, your stories are going to really help to develop your attractive character. The other thing that you want to do is you want to be honest with your character flaws, right? You really want to admit that you're flawed and admit that you're a normal person. This is going to create trust, and people are really going to resonate with you. People like buying from people, right? They don't necessarily want to buy from big corporations because people don't trust big corporations, right? People trust normal people, normal, flawed human beings. And at the end of the day, human beings are flawed. That's just the fact of life. And so when you're willing to really admit that you are flawed and that you're not perfect, then this is going to really create a level of deep trust and affection, and people are really going to start to resonate with you, and they're going to follow you, right? They're going to want to do what you do and go where you go. The other thing too is you want to zig when they zag. And so what that means is don't do exactly what everybody else in the industry is doing. So all the big gurus, if they're sending out sales pitch after sales pitch, don't do that, right? Don't blend into the crowd. People aren't going to remember you, right? You want to be different than everybody else. And so what you're going to find is that if you ever opt into my email list, you're not going to be bombarded with a sales pitch. Excuse me. Let's grab some more water. Yeah, so when you join my email list, you are not going to be hit with a sales pitch. I go straight into value. I go to introduce myself, and then I move straight into delivering value, right? Just action-packed value and content that is going to help you with building your business, right? And that is very, very different from everybody else inside of this industry. And so what that really does is it makes me stand out from the crowd, right? It makes me be the purple elephant. And so something that Seth Godin says is that purple elephants are a lot cooler than gray elephants, right? So what that means is that people are going to remember the purple elephant, right? They're not going to remember all the thousands of gray elephants out there. They're going to remember that one purple elephant, and so you want to be that purple elephant. So your attractive character identity. So there are a couple of identities that you can play. The first one is the leader or the guru. And so when you're first starting out, you're probably not going to play this role. I wouldn't recommend that you try to play this role because you're just starting out. You don't have all that expertise or knowledge just yet. And so don't pretend to be the leader. Don't pretend to be the guru, right? Just go out there and just, share your experiences, right? If you're just brand new and you're just starting out in your industry, then I would recommend that you choose either 2, 3, or 4 here. And so either way, you should lead with confidence. Even if you're not really positioning yourself as the leader or the guru, I would still recommend that you just show confidence in your marketing. Your marketing should be oozing with confidence. So just lead with confidence. Everybody does want to be led. Whether you're willing to admit it or not, everybody is looking for a leader, right? People don't like uncertainty, right? People want to follow somebody that they trust and that they know that that leader can bring them to where they want to be. Now, the second one is the reporter or the evangelist. And so this is a very, very easy way to start if you're completely brand new to your niche. So what the reporter does is the reporter just reports on what's happening in the industry, right? And so what this allows you to do is it allows you to come up with content ideas and really provide value and help people out, even though you don't know a whole lot. Because what you can do is you can curate other people's content. So when you come across a video on YouTube, you can, and that video really provided a whole lot of value and really helped you to see a whole lot of new things about your industry. Well, you can curate that content, right? You can send your list to that video. You can embed that video into your blog and send your list to that video. And don't worry about if you're, maybe you're worried about, well, if I send them to that guru, then they're going to buy from that guru instead of me. Well, you just have to start coming from a more abundant mindset, right? Understand that if you are the one who introduced them to that guru, they're going to remember you, right? You were honest enough to tell them, to share with them awesome, valuable content, even though it steered them away from you. And so they're going to remember you for that, and they're going to trust you for that because you did not steer them wrong. The other identity that you could assume would be hometown boy makes good, or hometown girl makes good, right? So what this is going to do is it's going to really show your customers, your potential customers, that you put in the work just like a normal person, right? It's going to make you very approachable. And when you play this role, they might even often be reminded of somebody that they know of from their hometown that, you know, maybe they got raised in they had a difficult childhood, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe dad was an alcoholic or whatever the case was. And so that person came, really pulled themselves up from the depths of hell and really made something of their life, right? And so most people know somebody like that. And so if you are assuming this role, then they might be often reminded of that person in their life. And so, like I said, it's going to show that you put in the work like a normal person, right? You didn't come out of the womb a marketing genius. You didn't come out of the womb with, you know, your affiliate company sending you big commission checks, right? You put in the work to get to where you are, and that's going to make you very, very approachable. The other thing is the adventurer or risk taker is another role that you could assume. So people love adventures, right? They love to follow people who are on adventures. It's fun, it's interesting, exciting, and you're going to see that in a lot of YouTube channels where people are just kind of traveling the world and they're just kind of vlogging and documenting their journeys. They have a lot of followers, those people, right? And so what you can do is you can assume that kind of a role as well. Now, for me, that's not really my personality, right? I'm not really much of a risk taker. Everything that I do is very, very calculated and very planned out. And so for me, that role doesn't really assume me very well. And so that's not one that I play. But if that is you, if that is your personality, it is something that you can do. People are going to be very interested in following your journey. So, stories that you can tell. 6 powerful different kinds of stories. So loss and redemption. Everybody likes the story of loss and redemption, right? People naturally love these stories. And so if you look at a movie like Taken, you know, the main guy, his daughter got taken, right? So he lost his daughter. But then the whole movie is all about how he is redeeming, right? He is, it's a story of loss and redemption. The whole movie is about how he goes out and he finds her. Against all odds, he finds her and brings her home, right? And people absolutely love those kind of stories. And so maybe you, I don't know, maybe you had to file for bankruptcy. Maybe you had a traditional business, or maybe you got fired, or whatever the case is. You lost your job, you lost everything, you had creditors knocking down your door. So that's a loss. And so maybe you're on the path to redemption, or maybe you have been redeemed and you've built a business online, or whatever the case is. Share that stuff, right? People love these stories. And it doesn't have to be this big grand story either. It can be on a much smaller scale too, if you have these stories of loss and redemption in your life. The other thing is us versus them, right? So excuse me, as an example, us versus the gurus, right? So this can really serve to polarize the market. So you can position yourself, just as an example, as, you know, all these other gurus are going to go out and they're just going to try and pitch you all the time. And I'm not going to do that, right? And so it's going to be me and you versus all the gurus. Now, just to be clear, the people that are out there that are very, very successful in the make money space and they have a massive, massive following, I'm not trying to put them down, right? But there are people out there that do shady stuff. And so I like to position myself as it's me and you, me and my customers, my potential customers, against all those so-called gurus, right? The other thing is an amazing discovery. People love amazing discoveries. It's going to be exciting for them, and it's going to create a lot of curiosity. And they're going to want to know what that amazing discovery is. Before and after is another kind of story that you can tell. So this is very, very inspiring. And so if you have a story like this to tell, whether you're in weight loss or maybe you are in network marketing or in affiliate marketing, and you can tell where you came from, right? You can share that with your audience. Maybe you came from a trailer park and now you're living in an upscale neighborhood, and you're making regular commission checks, and you can actually afford to live in a nice neighborhood. You can share that before and after story with your audience. Maybe you don't have this kind of story yet. What you can do is you can use other people's results. So if you are promoting an affiliate product, or maybe you're in a network marketing company and somebody else in that company has this kind of before and after story, well, you can share that before and after story with your list as well. Secrets. If you actually do have a secret, people are going to want that secret. Now, I wouldn't overuse this if I was you, right? I hardly ever use this, but it is a very, very powerful copywriting technique. And so if you actually do have a secret, this is going to be very powerful. The other thing is testimonials. So this is going to be similar to the before and after, but you want to use testimonials as early into your career as you possibly can for social proof. This is very, very powerful. So as soon as you get results in your business, you want to share those results, and it's really going to show people that this is possible, right? This is not some pipe dream. This really can be done because you did it. And if you are completely brand new and you don't have results yet, then you can use other people's testimonials if you're promoting an affiliate product or network marketing, right? So you can go into maybe that product or company has a Facebook group, so you can go into that Facebook group and you can just screenshot other people's testimonials, and you can use that in your marketing. Just don't claim that you have results that you don't have. You never ever want to do that. You want to operate this business with full integrity, and so this is a way that you can leverage other people's testimonials, so that way you can take advantage of this before you actually have results of your own. Now, once you get to a point where you are actually getting other people results, where you're helping your clients, your customers get results, then you want to grab testimonials from your customers and leverage them in your marketing. That is the ultimate testimonial. That's the ultimate power when it comes to a testimonial story, is when you can share that you have got results for other people. Well, your potential customers are going to want to be one of those people that have got those results. They're going to want that from you as well. So a couple of tips for your attractive character. The one thing about your backstory is you want to write down your backstory, right? Write it down on paper, physical pen and paper, and write down some stories that you can tell, some specific stories that you can tell about your backstory. And people love stories, and this is really going to allow them to really get to know you. And every time that they hear from you, every time they see your name in that email inbox, that story is going to come into their mind right away, and they're going to want to know what it is that you have to tell them today. The other thing is write down a couple of character flaws that you have. You really have to get honest. You should be honest with yourself. You should realize that you do have flaws, because at the end of the day, you do, right? You do have flaws, just like I do, just like every human being does on this planet. And so just be honest with yourself, and be honest with your prospects, right? This is going to really show that you are human and that you're normal and that they can trust you. Often when they find you online and they see that you have an email list and you have a website and all this stuff, they're going to put you up on this kind of pedestal, and they're going to think that you're something special, that they could never do what you're doing. But when you help them to see that you actually have flaws, that you are not perfect, then they are going to start to resonate with you, and they're going to start to see that, okay, that person's flawed and they can do this, then maybe I can do it too, right? And the other thing is you want to figure out what is your main identity, right? And so if we go back to identity, leader. Are you going to play the leader? Are you going to play the reporter, the hometown boy makes good, or the adventurer? So what you have to understand is that this main identity is probably going to change down the road. And it might even change from day to day a little bit, but you want to really figure out what your main identity is and then just run with it. So if you develop your attractive character correctly, and you really leverage this inside of your marketing, then people are going to start to really perceive you as a guru long before you actually are, right? So people are going to be looking to you for advice long before you actually are considered a guru, long before you're going to consider yourself an expert or a guru. People are going to perceive you as such. And what that's going to do is it's going to really, they're going to trust you, right? And so when it comes time that you make, that you send out a pitch, that you want to sell something, recommend a product, people are going to take action on that. And that's what you want, right? You're running a business, you want to make money, right? And so this is what that's going to allow you to do. The other thing is your people are going to feel like they know you, right? They're going to trust you. and they're going to love hearing from you. And so really understand that when they feel like they know you and when they trust you and love hearing from you, then that really puts you in a very powerful position, because they're going to do what you tell them to do, right? Or they're going to take advice that you recommend. And so this can put you in a very, very profitable position. And it shouldn't be just about money, right? You really do actually, deep down, you want to have your customers' best interests at heart. It's not just about bringing in money, but yeah, this is really going to put you in a very powerful position. The other thing is you can use your attractive character in everything that you do, right? It's not just in email marketing. It can be in your videos, in your blogging, and even in your day-to-day life, you can use your attractive character. So let's talk about the SOS, the soap opera sequence. And so this is a very, very powerful strategy in regards to email marketing. And what it does is it really allows you to really engage your audience on a very deep level, right? And so when you learn how to do the soap opera sequence the right way, then your people are really going to follow you wherever you go. And what's even going to happen down the road is some of those people might even start asking you when your next email is coming, right? They're waiting for your next email to come in. And this is something that is unheard of, because most marketers' emails are just completely lost in the flood of all of the different emails that people get every single day. Most people are on a ton of different email lists, and most of the emails they get, they just, they get sent straight to the trash folder, right? People just delete them straight away. They don't even open them often. But when you learn how to do this the right way, then people are going to love hearing from you, and yeah, you're even going to have people down the road actually email you, send you messages, and asking you when is your next email coming, because they want to know what you have to say. Yeah, most people just mail out pitches, and so you are not going to do that, right? Every now and then you do have to mail out a pitch because you do want to make money, but you want to be the purple elephant, right? And the SOS is really going to allow you to do that on a very powerful level. The other thing that SOS allows you to do is allows you to pre-frame what you're selling, really pre-educate your prospect on what you are selling, but you can do it in a very cool way and a very fun way that your audience is going to love, right? And so you're not going to be just shamelessly sending out blatant sales pitches, right? You're going to be doing this in a very fun way that people actually enjoy reading. The other thing is it's really going to help to build relationships and trust. And that's really what you want, is you want people to feel like they know you, like they have a relationship with you, and that they can trust you, and that if they want to really send you a message or reach out to you and ask you a question, that they can do that, right? You're an approachable, real person, and that they can trust you. That's what you want. And so the people that end up actually clicking your links to your products, these people are not just going to be clicking out of curiosity, right? These people are going to be clicking your links, and they are already going to be very, very interested in buying. These people are red hot, ready to buy. Their credit cards are already in their hands, and they are ready to take action, right? So what is the SOS? Well, the SOS is really several emails that are linked together that tell one big story. And so this can be 3 emails, it can be 5 emails, 10 emails, 20 emails, whatever you want, right? Whatever you want. And so this sequence doesn't necessarily have to be a story. Stories are powerful, and I would recommend that you work stories into there, but it doesn't always have to be a story. It can be training that's delivered in a sequence that constantly leaves them wanting more. So open loops, this is really what's going to really position your message in a way that leaves people wanting more, right? So open loops, it really helps to keep people entertained and really dialed into your message. And so this is an NLP concept, neuro-linguistic programming, right? It's an NLP concept. And so the way that you're going to do this is, as an example, you're going to tell them what you will share with them, right? And that opens the loop. But then you move on to talking about something else, right? Completely. And they're going to keep reading, and they're going to be really engaged because you told them what you're going to share with them, and they want to know that, right? They want to know that information. You've opened that loop, and it's going to be almost impossible for them to just exit out, right? And so then later on down the road, a little further down that email, or possibly even in the next email the next day, then you share it with them. You share with them what you told them you would share with them, and that really closes the loop, right? So an SOS sequence is constantly opening and closing loops like a TV show, right? Soap operas are very, very good at this. People watch these, there's some people that watch these soap operas every single day religiously. I'm not a soap opera guy, but I know that my mom is, and it's because soap operas, they do this. They open loops and close loops constantly, and it's really programmed in our brains that when a loop gets opened, then we need closure, right? We need that loop to close. We need to know how it's going to end. And so at the end of a lot of these soap operas, then they open a loop, right? And so they really create a whole lot of curiosity, and you need to know what's going to happen next time. And so no matter what happens the next day, you are going to dial into that channel and you're going to watch that soap opera again. You're going to watch that next episode because you need that loop to close in your head. And so what it does is it really makes you want to stick with it to the end, right? That's just kind of how our brains are programmed. And so if they do miss an email, it's going to drive them absolutely nuts, right? Just like your favorite TV show, because your brain has not been able to close that loop. It's kind of how our brains have been programmed. It's the way that we work. And so in your stories, you want to point out problems, right? You want to point out roadblocks and then tie in your products as the solutions. So the thing that you have to remember is that all of your emails and all of your SOS sequences should be written with a point in mind, right? There's always an end goal to your content. And so oftentimes, most of the time, not always, but most of the time, that end goal is going to be a sale, right? And so in those stories, you need to point out common problems and roadblocks that your audience likely has, and then share with them how your products can be the solution to those problems and roadblocks. And you can do it in a very subtle and a very fun way by using stories and by using soap opera sequences. When you combine this, open and closed loops and SOS sequences with your attractive character, you are going to be absolutely unstoppable, right? This is very, very powerful. So the SOS sequence, every single email connects to one big story that's spread out over several emails. So like I said, it could be maybe 3 emails, it could be 10 emails, it could be even more, right? But they all those emails connects to one big story. In each email, you want to really pre-frame them for the next email. And so at the end of each email, then you want to open a loop, and then in the next email is where you close that loop. And then you open another loop, and then in the next email, you close that loop again. And so this is how you're really going to drive a very high open rate. A lot of people are going to open your emails, and they're going to be hungrily digesting your content. So a new email is going to be like a new episode of your favorite TV show. And so people are going to want to watch that new episode, right? They're going to want to read that new email. So what you want to do is you want to place open loops in each email. When you close a loop, then immediately open a new one, right? Because as soon as you've provided closure, now they're going to be relaxed, right? They're going to be like, okay, finally got that question answered. Now I'm good. But then you open a new loop right away again, and that's going to keep them curious, right? It's going to keep them wanting more. So at the end of the day, this is a kind of a basic copywriting premise, is that every single sentence should make them want to read the next one. So this is getting kind of into in-depth copywriting, but copywriting is all about opening and closing loops. The other thing too is that you really want to put some real effort and some real love into all these emails. Don't just kind of, as you're half asleep, just kind of bang these out. You really want to put some real effort and love into these SOS sequences. Write them down on paper, maybe map them out, map out your open loops and how you're going to close them, where you're going to close them, what stories you're going to tell, and just put some real effort into all these emails. It is going to take practice to master this, right? You can't expect that your very first SOS sequence is just going to knock it out of the park and you're going to make a whole pile of sales and a whole pile of money, right? It is going to take some practice, and it is going to take some time for your customers to actually start dialing into your message. It's not going to happen overnight. So what I used to do back in the day when I was just getting started is I would just kind of write random emails, and nothing strategically flowed together ever. And so often I would one day I would talk about network marketing, and then all of a sudden the next day I would talk about Facebook marketing. Then the day after that, maybe I'd talk about video marketing, and nothing strategically flowed together. And I think that my audience probably became very confused, and they didn't really know what I stood for, right? They never really knew what to expect. And so when you confuse your audience the way that I used to do, then it's going to be very difficult to make sales. And it was, right? I didn't make a whole lot of money in the beginning because I had no strategy. So as an example, here is an SOS example, just kind of a short example. So today I'm going to teach you the one exercise to shed inches off your waist, right? So right there I opened a loop. But first, I want to share with you the 3 foods that fire up your metabolism and allows you to virtually shed pounds overnight. So now I'm going to share with them the 3 foods that fire up the metabolism, right? But all the while, they're going to be wondering, what is this one exercise that's going to actually shed inches off your waist? They're going to be wondering that. And so they're going to be hungry to keep reading until that loop is closed, right? And so, yeah, what you want to do is you want to share that exercise later on in the email. And so at the end of the email, I would recommend that you open a new loop by telling them what you're going to teach them the next day, right? And so that's going to really make them excited to read tomorrow's email as well. So as soon as they see that email in their inbox, they're going to open that email up, and they are going to be very engaged and hungrily read that content. And when, like I keep on saying, when the time comes that you do actually promote a product, they are going to be dialed in and they're going to be excited to buy it. Ideally, everything needs to connect and flow to the next lesson. That's the basic kind of premise of an SOS sequence. So, SOS sequence, step 1. Nothing beats a good story, right? Nothing at all. So, as an example, there's a couple of TV shows that historically I've gotten very, very hooked on, and there's a reason that I try to not watch too much Netflix, because I tend to get very, very sucked into stories, right? So Sons of Anarchy is one, Dexter, Breaking Bad, Entourage. These are all shows that really, really reeled me in. They did a very good job of opening and closing these loops, right? And so when I was watching these shows, it seemed like it was almost physically impossible for me to turn off that TV, and it really costed me a whole lot of productivity in my life while I was watching these shows, because I just needed to know the outcome. I needed to know what was going to happen in that show. And so often what I would tell myself is, I was up at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I would just okay, so now I finished an episode of Sons of Anarchy. Are they going to kill Clay or not? I don't know. I need to know. So what I would do is I would just go to the next episode, and I would tell myself, I'm just going to watch the first 5 minutes so I can have that question answered. And guess what? Suddenly I was watching that whole episode, and then they opened another loop, and there I was again. It ended up being 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So it's very, very powerful. Nothing beats a good story. And so when you can really incorporate this into your brand, into your marketing, into your emails, then it's going to be very, very powerful. So SOS sequences are more geared for promotions, right? Because this is a very, very powerful strategy. And so I like to really only utilize them when I'm promoting something, right? When there's money to be made, right? So when you're selling your products, you don't actually want to sell your products. I know that sounds very counterintuitive, but you don't want to, just in a hypey way, tell them why your product is the best. What you want to do is you want to sell the solution to their problems. And so this is why in an SOS sequence, when you can really outline the common problems and common struggles that people have, and then share with them how your product can help them, right? So you're selling the solution to their problems. You're not just selling your product. So that is very powerful. So when you first start your promotion, then you need a hook. You really put some real effort and some extra love into that first email, because you want to really reel them in initially, right? You want to hook them, excuse me. You want to hook them and really get them really reeled into your message. That initial email has to get them interested. So that way you can start opening and closing those loops and keep them reeled in throughout your SOS sequence until the end where you sell your product. Step 2. You want to call out the obvious, right? So no matter what, if you buy a product online, there are always some questions in your mind, right? There's some objections. And the thing that you have to understand is that everybody has these objections before they buy something, right? And there are some common objections that just about every single person has for a specific product or a specific niche. And so What you want to do is you want to figure out what those objections are, and then you want to address those common objections inside of your SOS sequence. You want to address the excuses that people have. And so this is probably going to take a little bit of brainstorming to figure out what those common excuses and objections are, and then you can work those into your SOS sequence, into your stories, and help people to see that those excuses and objections can be overcome, and that oftentimes they're not even really true, right? They're just your brain playing tricks on you. Step 3 is you want to endorse the product, right? Or you want to, if you're an affiliate, then you want to endorse the vendor if you're an affiliate of a certain product. And so for me, I promote something that's called Mobe. And so Matt Lloyd is the founder and the CEO of the company Mobe. And so often what I'll do in my SOS sequences is I'll endorse Matt Lloyd, right? I'll share with them Matt Lloyd's story, right? I edify that person. I edify Matt Lloyd, so that way when the time comes that I do sell Mobe and that I do bring people into my team inside of Mobe, and they go to that sales page and they learn about Matt Lloyd, they're already pre-educated. They already know who Matt Lloyd is. They kind of know his story, and they've trusted me because of the work I've put in, right? And therefore they trust Matt Lloyd because I edified him in my emails. And so this is very, very powerful. You don't want to just assume that they already know about it, right? Even though, you know all about your product that you're promoting, right? This probably consumes you quite a bit, right? You spend a whole lot of time thinking about it, and so often we can tend to just assume that everybody else knows too, right? That everybody else knows about it as well, but that's often not the case. So you don't want to just assume that everybody else knows about it. It's your responsibility to educate people about what you're selling. Assume that they don't know, right? You are the trusted advisor, so it's on you to advise people, to pre-educate them. Step 4, on the very last day of your promotion, sell hard. Right? So a lot of people feel like selling is bad, selling is icky, but it's not, right? Selling is it's what drives the economy, right? Making money is just a value for value exchange. And so if you want to receive value in the form of money, then you have to provide value in the form of a product or a service. And so that's really what selling is. And so without selling, you're going to make no money. Without making money, you're not going to build a business, right? So the other thing that you have to understand is that most of your sales are going to come on the very first day of your promotion and on the very last day of your promotion. So what a lot of people do is they will kind of try this SOS sequence for maybe 2 or 3 days, and then they're not going to get results. Maybe they won't get results right away, and then they'll just kind of give up. But what you have to understand is that people are dialed into your message, even though you might not realize it. Maybe you're not to the point yet where people are reaching out to you, but people are reading, right? And so historically, in a sales promotion, most of the sales come in on the last day. So that's what you have to understand. So stick with it to the end. And if you don't make any sales on your first SOS sequence, don't worry about it. Maybe you have to keep working a little harder, keep working a bit longer, grow your list a little bit bigger, and keep on nurturing that relationship with the list that you have. Eventually, you are going to just keep on working on this SOS sequence, right? Eventually, you are going to get results, as long as you stick with the course. After the promotion is over, you want to go straight back to delivering value and building goodwill, right? So you do not want to be known as the person who just pitches products all the time. That's the last thing that you want. That's what most other marketers do. So you do not want to be known as one of those marketers. Remember, you want to be known as the pink elephant. You want to stand out from the crowd, right? So what I would recommend you do is I would recommend you read Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary does a very, very good job of outlining the concept of this. And so I would recommend that you read that book. And just as a fair warning, if you do not like foul language, then Gary V might not be somebody that you want to read. He is has a very strong personality, and he does throw the F-bomb out there quite a bit, but his concepts are very, very powerful, and he is definitely one of the best marketers out there. Just going to grab another drink. All right. So Jerry Seinfeld emails. So Seinfeld emails are not connected like SOS emails at all, right? These are just kind of standalone emails about nothing. So your emails are not actually going to be about nothing, but Seinfeld is kind of known as a show about nothing, right? So what that means is that you can jump into Seinfeld in the middle of the series, in the middle of a season, and watch an episode, and you're not going to be lost, right? Because the episodes they're not really connected. They have the same characters in there, but they're not really connected. Each episode has kind of a standalone story. And so this Jerry Seinfeld emails, these are going to be the majority of your emails, right? Just a regular broadcast email is typically going to be a Jerry Seinfeld email. And so what you can do here is you can share a standalone story, right? So you can share what you're doing in your life. You can share valuable tips and lessons that you learn throughout your life. And like we talked about earlier, you're surrounded by content ideas everywhere in your life, right? Whether you think it or not. But when you start thinking more like a creator and less like a consumer, then you're going to start to see and you're going to start to recognize that content ideas are all around you. So a Jerry Seinfeld email has absolutely no connection to a previous or a future email. So yeah, like I said, it's just a standalone email, and maybe you do a couple of open and closed loops inside of that email, but you're not really going to be connecting them to future emails. There's not a whole lot of strategy involved. So when you write these emails, I would recommend that there should still typically be a point. There doesn't always have to be a point to it. Sometimes you can just email, just to keep in touch and just to nurture a relationship. But typically I would have a call to action in all my emails, typically, right? And it doesn't have to be a sales pitch. It shouldn't be a sales pitch all the time. Sometimes it may just be you want to, maybe you put a post on Facebook that you thought got some good response, and maybe you want to share that with your list. So you can send your list to that Facebook post on your profile. Maybe you created a YouTube video and you can send your list to that, or a blog post. Or maybe you found, like I mentioned before, you're curating somebody else's content, you found a powerful video, and you can share that with your list. So that can be in a Jerry Seinfeld emails as well. So there's not nearly as much strategy involved as there is in an SOS email. So a couple of ideas for Jerry Seinfeld emails. So you can share stories from your past, right? So your backstory, right? You're going to have a lot of specific little stories, little things that happened along the way that were kind of stepping stones to growth. And so you can share those stories. You can share what you're doing or what you did today, right? Lessons that you learned in the past, or lessons that you learned throughout your day-to-day life, or maybe church, whatever it is, right? You can share that stuff in your daily Jerry Seinfeld emails. Yeah, you could, like I said before, you can send people to a blog post or to a video that you created. You can share other people's content. Like I said, you can curate other people's content if you find a video that you loved. Maybe you found a video that was hilarious. It put you in a good mood. You can share that with your list, or maybe something that's really inspiring. And the other thing, this is a point that I really want to drive home. Just start doing and practicing. Over time, you're going to figure out what your list likes, right? But you're not going to get good at this overnight, right? It takes practice. It's like, I've shared this before, this business is like learning how to ride a bike, right? In the beginning, as you're learning how to ride your bike, you think back to when you were 3 or 4 years old and you're learning how to ride that bike, it's going to be a process, right? You're going to fall down, you're going to fall off that bike, you're going to scrape up your knee, and you're going to bleed a little bit, right? It's going to be painful, but when you think back to that time, you got back up on that bike and you continued. You were relentless and steadfast in your mission to learn how to ride that bike, and that's how you got to where you are today, where you can just hop on that bike and you don't even have to think about it, right? It's second nature. You just ride that bike. And so this business is the exact same way, right? You can attend all the webinars and read all the books in the world about learning how to ride a bike, but unless you actually do it, unless you actually get on that bike and actually start riding that bike, you're never going to learn it. And this business is the exact same way. You can go through all the courses in the world about email marketing, but without you actually physically doing it and actually sending out emails to your list, you're never going to learn it, right? So just start doing by practicing, or start doing and practicing. So just a couple of extra tips that I wanted to share with you here. You really want to use simple English, right? Don't use all kinds of fancy words. You know, one of the objections that I see a lot of people have about blogging and about email marketing is that people think that they have to have an English major, right? Or they have to be a professor of the English language in order to be effective with email marketing or blogging, and that's just not the case. Right? You want to keep things very simple. You don't want to use big fancy words, right? Most people don't want to read that kind of stuff. If they want to read big fancy words, then they can go to the library and find a dictionary, right? Or find some book. They're reading emails, right? You want to be a normal human being. The way that I always think about it is you really want to just write how you talk, right? Just think about how you're talking to your buddy, how you're talking to a regular human being, and just write it out exactly that way, right? It's okay to use, slang. Use the word gonna. I'm gonna go home or whatever. You don't have to do everything proper. You don't have to. There are a lot of people in the internet marketing niche that don't even have a high school education, and they're making hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars online, and they are not English majors. You do not have to be an English major in order to do this business. The other thing that I mentioned already is you have to get better, or you will get better and better with practice. It's not going to happen overnight. So just get out there and start doing it. Even if you're not getting results right away, just be relentless, be steadfast, and just keep working at it. You are going to get better and better, and you're going to learn how to really talk to people in a way that is going to have them really dial into your message and really engage with you, and really have them start reaching out to you and actually taking action when you recommend that they take action. The other thing that I would recommend is that every single email that you write, I would recommend that you read it out loud before you actually send it. Now, this is probably going to be kind of weird the first time that you do it, right? Maybe your wife is in the other room, or maybe if you're a woman, your husband's in the other room, and you're sitting here on your computer, and then all of a sudden you just start talking. They're going to poke their head in the room, and they're going to be like, dear, what in the world are you doing? It's okay. Just read that email out loud before you send it out, because what that's going to do is it's going to help you to read it out the way that your prospect on the other end of that email is going to be reading it. And if something doesn't flow right, then you can change it, right? You can kind of move things around inside of that email. You can change a couple of words in order to ensure that it really flows very, very smoothly, and that it reads very easily, that it actually makes sense. So read it out loud. When doing an SOS sequence, I would write all the emails out before sending them out. And then what you want to do is, before sending out that sequence, you want to read them back to back to make sure that everything flows together. Read that whole sequence back to back in one shot, right? And so that way you're going to be able to see whether or not everything flows together. And if it doesn't quite flow together, then you can just tweak things a little bit, make some changes, so that way everything flows nicely. And the other point that I want to drive home is, don't be afraid to be your true self, right? If you are going to be your true self, it's going to attract people that you like. It's going to attract people that you love working with, right? And so that is going to really ensure that you build a business that you actually love. You don't want to build a business that attracts people that you just hate working with, right? Like, I'm in the affiliate marketing, or internet marketing space, and I am not marketing towards the people that are get-rich-quick that have this get-rich-quick mentality, right? I'm marketing towards people that are working towards building a real, long-term, stable business. Those are the kind of people that I want. Those are the kind of people that I enjoy working with, right? And so that's why I am my true self in my marketing, and that attracts those kind of people. It allows me to really build a business that I love. The other thing that's going to do is it's going to build that know, like, and trust factor, right? You want your potential customers and your customers to know you. You want them to like you, and you want them to trust you. And when you're being your true self in your marketing and in your emails and all that stuff, it is going to build that know, like, and trust factor, and it's going to do it very, very effectively. So that was a lot of content. We moved very, very quickly, and yeah, we did not make it inside of an hour, but that's okay. I really do hope that you got a ton of value from this content. I hope that you took a bunch of notes, and I hope that you can just move forward and start taking action on this, start actually implementing these tips into your business, so that way you can start making a whole pile of money, start making sales, and start actually building an audience that loves you and that loves hearing from you over and over again. So, is there anything that I missed? Did I go too quickly? Maybe you didn't. Maybe I kind of glossed over a couple of points and you need them clarified. Well, if you have any questions, I don't have time to actually sit here and do a Q&A. I just noticed that I got a message from a friend of mine and I'm supposed to go to town. And yeah, so we have supper plans, it looks like. So yeah, if you have questions, just text me at 204-319-0097. You can send me a text message there, and I will be sure to answer any and all of your questions that you have. Maybe you're not comfortable with actually reaching out over text message or over a cell phone. That's perfectly fine. You can always reach out on Facebook. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Send me a message on there. Or you can send me an email at johnny@meetjohnnyfriesen.com. And if you're on my email list, then just reply to any one of my emails that I send you, and then I will reply. I reply to each and every one of my emails. And so, yeah, if you have any questions about this webinar, just make sure to specifically tell me that it was about this webinar and ask me any questions, and I will do my very best to answer them. So, yeah, with that being said, have yourself a fantastic evening. And yeah, reach out, ask me any questions. Talk to you soon.